In this darkest hour when Hollywood cinemas soak in toxic woke culture, obsessed with making boring fake feminist movies, in which women are usually oppressed by individual males and gain empowerment by defeating them, The Power of the Dog comes along with a sophisticated realistic story to depict the mental destruction of patriarchy on both men and women. The movie makes use of excellent mise-en-scène and cinematography techniques to construct a suppressed patriarchy environment, power struggles and relationship between characters. Let's go through the plot real quick. Influenced by his late mentor Bronco Henry, Phil is a volatile, tough man, possessing traits such as misogyny and homophobia. Having a dysfunctional relationship with his brother George, disapproves of his marriage to Rose, and mocks Rose's son Peter for his effeminate manner. As a result, everyone is upset throughout the whole film, and Rose has become an alcoholic. Later in the film, it is implied that Bronco Henry was Phil's secret lover, and he probably saw his younger self in Peter and tries to train Peter into an idealized masculine figure. The Power of the Dog first builds up a visually suppressed environment to express the negative psychology effect of toxic masculinity. For a Western movie, this movie unusually has quite a lot of indoor scenes, with dim lighting or symmetrical structures surrounding characters. Even for outdoor scenes, the gloomy, cool-tone weather often permeates a sense of imprisonment and loneliness. Most natural scenery take place under the shadows of the dog-shaped mountains, which is a symbol for patriarchy, and it's the origin of the name of the movie, The Power of the Dog. Rarely any outdoor scenery of this film is naturally beautiful, and it's intended to be this way, since no delightful events have happened in this movie. Contrary, natural sceneries are rather unnatural and alienated, invaded by chaos, violence, plague, and danger. Even in the most heartfelt moment in the whole movie,
I want to say how nice it is not to be alone.
natural feel light shines on Rose's blonde hair. The camera instantly reminds us how they are surrounded by mountains with a long shot. Phil is barely shot with other characters within the same frame during conversation. This is to create an estranged relationship and disconnection between Phil and other characters, as well as to depict Phil's mental isolation. Short reverse shot is mostly used in Phil's conversation. In this scene between Phil and George, for instance, first a medium to short, then is short reverse shot, but they aren't facing each other, and George in particular wants to ignore Phil since he's insulting his new wed wife Rose. Even in their two-shot scene, George seems to dismiss him as well, poor Phil. In another scene, apparently it seems that Phil and Peter's relationship has improved, sitting closely together chatting, in a brighter background, with a medium to short. But then the scene shifts to short reverse shot again. Phil and Peter are immediately out of each other's frames, especially with Peter's blurry hat as background in Phil's shot. And he looks at Peter, while he isn't in Peter's frame, and Peter doesn't even look at him. It implies that Phil has Peter in his mind, but Peter doesn't really care for him, and their reconciled friendship is merely a delusion. Of course, short reverse shot is commonly used in conversation in general, but it doesn't have to be. Even in George and Rose's short reverse shot, their faces aren't out of each other's frames, and they are actually looking to each other when they are talking. Linear long takes are used on loving relationships, such as the newlywed couple, and the close mother-son relationship. In this scene, Phil and Peter share together in the barn. That's the closest moment they have with physical contact, and they are finally talking in close-up within the same frame, with two arc shots. But the shaky camera movement reflecting Phil's affection for Peter is only one-sided, and foreshadowing the danger that happened next. Jane Campion also makes use of high and low angle shots to depict characters' power struggles and changing relationships. Phil is often captured in close-up low angle shots. displaying his dominating position with his brother, Rose, and Peter. He is as proud as a peacock who raises his head high all the time, powerful and yet lonely and fragile at the same time. In this scene where George is shot in low angle while he lies on the bed like a baby, George apparently is dominant in this moment, blaming Phil for making Rose cry. In these two scenes, Phil and Rose's power relationships are obviously demonstrated by high and low angle shots and position. Even music capacity become their field of battles. Phil prevails with his extreme low-angle shots and his big nose holes. It's not just his own personal triumph, but also a symbol for the dominant power of patriarchy. Staircase is one aspect of the high and low angle power relationship as well. The movie begins by Phil walking upstairs, and contrastly ends with him walking downstairs. Which shows one dominated patriarchal figure defeated by another uprising one. The winner gets to take the high ground. I don't consider Peter's winning to be a feminist victory, despite his feminine traits, when his cruelty is hidden underneath his harmless appearance. And violence is an essential part of patriarchy as well. The possession of the polluted robe symbolizes that Peter inherits the legacy of patriarchal disease that both produced by Phil and kills him in the process. The power of the dog will never end, and this is the true horror of patriarchy.